live. The August 15th, 2014 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Tina.
Larry's coming on.
Larry's coming. The dragon.
The dragon is lurking today.
Hello?
There he is.
Hi, Larry.
Hello.
Hi, Larry.
So how was everyone's week this week?
Unproductive.
Unproductive.
You ever have one of those weeks where it was just like, I don't know, there were so many stupid things going on and I just couldn't get into it. But, do you ever have, like, it's probably going to sound terrible, but like stupid client day? It's really
Sometimes it lasts all week.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. They come in waves, but I mean, I have lovely, lovely clients. But then, you know, they'll do stuff, and then I'll go, what were your brain is going, what were you thinking?
Right.
Or, you know, and then as soon as you hang up the phone, there's another one. It's like, is it the moon?
Well, I have my week perfectly planned out, and I don't think that one of my appointments went the way that I expected.
Nope. Mine this afternoon did.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I had a relative of a very long client, started a partnership and doing some rental properties and buying properties and everything, and so he wanted to be set up, and you know, he wants to be able to keep the checkbooks. That's the easiest accounting there is this cash basis, not that much activity, you know. So, but it still took us 3 hours.
Oh my.
To download the software, install the software, get it set up. You know, I'm talking to him the whole time. You know, highly intelligent. You know, but I mean, he's completely green. So, but I wanted to, you know, as we're talking and setting up vendors and all that, we're talking best practices, last name first. You know, we talked about W-9s and, you know, so I mean, it's not just the software, it's basically how to do business at the same time. So he said, did everybody do all this work? And I said, no. I said, you need to be very clear when you find a tax accountant. You say who set it up. Hopefully they know me. And that, you know, at least with my reputation, the accountant would know that it's going to come in. All they have to do is a return. But it'll make a difference. I told him, it'll make a difference when you get a quote, because if you just go get a quote for a partnership return and you say, I'm using QuickBooks, chances are the tax accountant's going to double that fee.
Right.
So, it was so refreshing to get one right out of the gate. You know,
Well,
clean
I
up.
got one right out of the gate this week
Yeah.
called Not Me, Not Today.
Oh, that's right. Not today.
I really thought that it was a prank. I really did not think that it was an official client that somebody was calling to mess with me. I've had that happen a couple times. You're laughing, Dennis. You've had that too, I'm sure.
I get a lot of people calling for asking for free advice.
Right.
I think I work with.
Well, this turned out to be really good. I mean, I sent my engagement letter that clearly states what I'm going to do, and I sent the email and you know, set up a time, and you know, I really didn't think that he'd show up. It was a virtual meeting. I thought I'd call and get no answer. I got him on the phone. A couple times I had to say, you know, you want me for this specific amount of time, I can go off on a tangent with what you're talking about, or we can do what I said we were going to do in this amount of time. And we were able to set it up. We went through the chart of accounts. We were able to download some transactions and actually go through, we didn't actually do it, but reviewed the process of the reconciliation.
Right.
So it was really a good visit. So you never know.
Now, how long did that take you?
I did all of that in an hour and a half.
Oh, are you serious?
I am, but I didn't have it. He had everything set up.
Oh, okay.
He had everything set up, and all we had to do, the first thing I did was review the chart of accounts.
Yeah.
Second thing I did was review the items. He wasn't doing any invoicing. It was real simple, like you said, Sarah. He was just bringing things in from the bank account, downloaded transactions, income and expenses, and that was it. So we were able to go through that quickly.
Well, I'm sort of glad this guy watched me download and install. You know, we were doing it together. It was remote, but we were doing it together because sometimes they don't realize, well, why did it take you 3 hours? And he watched.
Right, absolutely.
And I said, I'm sorry, your internet is so slow.
Oh, that's so disappointing. You know, when you expect to take a certain amount of time for something and then find out that their equipment is not up to standards and so slow.
I don't know. I told him, I said, when we get totally done, he was at work. I said, you know, they need to reboot the server and everybody needs to reboot their machines and all that before they leave for the day. I said, and reboot the router. You know, I know they don't do that very often, so it's also a client I need to dial in this weekend and work, so I'm hoping it's not a sign of my weekend.
Weekends should be weekends.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's a weekend.
My own fault. I did not have a productive enough week. And so you get to Friday and go, you know, if I don't knock out some more, next week's going to be.
Right.
I don't really know what a weekend is.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, how are you?
Good. We're connected on Twitter now.
Yes, we're Twitter friends.
Yes, we are. Awesome.
I keep saying tweet. I'll say, or a twit. You know, I need to go twit.
You tweet on Twitter.
Yeah, I keep getting them confused.
Now, I want to say there's not a whole lot of accountants that do Twitter. And when I first signed up, I really did not think that I would be a Twitter kind of person. I always, pardon?
Said I love Twitter, and there's getting to be more and more pro advisors on Twitter than there ever has been. But
Absolutely. My assumption was it's for that person that has no life but wants to play with their phone all the time. I am sitting here by the pool. I am having dinner. You know, no.
I don't want to read stuff like that. But, you know, the Hootsuite helped because I could see all of them lined up.
Absolutely.
Look at the same.
And that's mostly how I use it. I have it all connected with my Facebook and all of that. So whenever I post somewhere else, it comes in as a tweet.
Yeah.
yeah, I used TweetDeck, and I'm able to. I've got 2 columns set up. One for QuickBooks, so it just searches out the QuickBooks words, so I can see what's going on. I've actually got some clients that way, and then also track Pro Advisor comments.
Huh.
And Linda, you're saying you signed up for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn all at the same time to improve your overall Google search ranking. Okay.
That's in my mind, that's the whole reason for being on those locations.
Huh.
Because when somebody searches for somebody, the more places you are and the longer you've been there, the higher up you are on the Google search page.
Right.
Anyway, that's...
How are you guys chatting? Because I've got a chat stream and now I've got another stream.
Yeah, this is a Google.
Where's Bruce?
Yeah, I see Bruce. Bruce, are you going to jump in, Larry? Where are you finding Bruce?
Yeah, well, how do you
Right there on the right side, that little, you know, that little box that's the green header.
He's in the little chat. He said he's going to jump on, and
Is that one public?
It's public. It's the Google Plus chat forum. It's outside of Hangouts.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
I haven't either. That's something new. It's blocking my chat box.
But now I can't see my group chat because it's, and then it won't move. How do I get it to move?
You'll have to minimize that to see your group chat.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, as long as we can still chat privately.
And it's our friend Rhonda who is saying hi, but she can't come in. She's going swimming.
And Deborah,
She's learning how to
hi,
swim.
Deborah.
Hello.
Hey, Deborah.
I'm on my iPad.
By the way, you can click on that little chat box and move it over.
What
I
chat
tried.
box?
It
But
just
I
kept
did. Thank you.
flying. It kept flying back where it wanted to be, or something.
Has a mind of its own.
Yeah, it's like. Well, I
So
was
the
thinking
second
for
thing.
iPad, but I can't see a chat window with the iPad.
Oh, right.
If I have the chat, I figured out the chat, but then I can't see everybody's faces. I'd rather see your faces.
Yeah.
One or the other, I guess.
You did figure out the chat though.
Yeah, I clicked on something, and then y'all went away, and then it showed up. I
Oh.
probably can't repeat it.
Oh, dear. Hello.
Well, look at this crowd.
I know, we got a big crowd. I'm surprised.
We do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
What's the maximum?
Bruce, where are you?
Can't get in now, right?
No, 10 people can be here.
Oh, you're not the 10th? Oh, no, I see you're right, yeah.
She's number 9 or number 1, whatever.
Bruce, where are you?
Is he lurking in the background? How do
I
you know
saw
that?
him. He was on this chat a minute ago.
Oh, was he?
Okay. Must have got called away by a special client.
Yeah, that's
He
the
said
way
he
it
just
is.
got in from,
He just,
he just got back from doing errands. He's going to jump in a little while.
Oh,
all right.
I better hurry up. Somebody else might pop in.
Well, that's all right. Somebody might get tired and leave, too.
Yeah. might be-
So the second thing that happened to me this week was my client with the serious corruption.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
Enterprise client, the client that pays me the most.
uh-oh.
We went on support. We had corruption issues again, and their solution is this database is unfixable. Time to start all over.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Darn.
You just can't, I mean, this client's so big that you just cannot do that. I'm thinking 1,500 customers and jobs, 500 memorized transaction invoices a month. Yeah, and worse, not only that, but the database is so corrupt that you're not allowed to import any of the list. All hand-entered from the beginning.
Ah.
So, yeah, I had to give that news to the client, who's still in shock, and I actually, but I had IT with me during the service call. So he was able to back up everything that I was saying. They can no longer connect their app. They're taking payroll off of QuickBooks immediately and going to Paychex. And now they're starting a search for a new software. The problem being that they are that big and they are growing that much, and even the Intuit support said that, you know, maybe you're just outgrowing QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So that
And you'll lose them in the end.
well, yeah, it looks like I have lost them. I mean, all I'm good for now is getting reports out of the database that they have to move to wherever it is that they're going.
Yeah, help
Is
with the
this enterprise?
This is Enterprise. And all throughout this, support has said, well, they shouldn't be that big. We should be able to handle this. There shouldn't be, you know, this is what Enterprise is built for. So now,
What symptoms, how do you know when it's corrupt?
well, you can't, you run the verify and it says that it's corrupt. You need to rebuild.
Well,
Have you tried like Matt Clark or any of those people?
Well, we've been using Intuit support, and like I said, this has been going on for about 4 weeks. We got to the point they had a third-party app that they were using. We completely cut the third-party app off, and we started doing backup after backup. After each process, we honed it down to, we're going to find this corruption. Where is it? And we did backup after backup after backup. Well, the final corruption, and it really didn't show up as corruption, was in the payroll process. When they clicked the button, yeah, right, ugly, Dennis. Ugly, 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 in the middle of the month, ugly. They clicked the button and to create the paychecks and lost information. They did the backup, they did the verify, all of that came back fine. It wasn't even saying that the database was corrupt. So they got through payroll, and you know, we made a copy of the database, and support and I both called Intuit support, and then that was when they said, there's just been too much corruption. You know, every time we do a rebuild, it was actually sent to Intuit for them to fix at one point, that it's just like a Band-Aid that they put on the database. You know, we're at the end and we have to recreate a new database and not import anything from the ground up. All new. Enter the vendors. Enter the customers.
That the current database will not export.
They were thinking that the corruption, part of the corruption was the templates. Whatever, the employee template was one of the problems.
But why would that prevent you from exporting a list?
Well, you can export. They didn't want it imported into the new database because they felt the corruption would follow.
Well, if you export,
That'd be easy to figure out, wouldn't it?
What corruption are they talking about? It's just fields of data. I don't.
Well, if they export to Excel and import it from Excel, I don't see wouldn't
Yeah,
that.
that's not going to be
I'm with you, Dennis. I'm with you, but this is what they said, and this was.
They're talking about exporting it as an IIF and importing as an IIF.
But above and beyond that, before we went to those great lengths, the problem is they really did outgrow their QuickBooks database.
Yeah. Why go to all this labor and all that?
We can go through all of the rigmarole, and you know, even if we did import the list, huge accounts receivable, huge accounts receivable.
What's the size of the database?
It was 1.2 gigabytes.
Yeah, well, I've heard that about 1.5 is the absolute max you can have on Enterprise.
Right. So we did a condense and only kept 2 years worth of data, and it took it down to between 800 and 900 megs. So
that's still huge.
Still huge. And the decision was, even if they were to go through the whole process, and it would take a huge process to recreate this database, why don't we think about moving to something bigger?
Have you looked at Intact?
That, Timberline, Great Plains, they have to do, well...
Big boy software.
Big boy software.
You're so used to the undoability of QuickBooks.
Oh, it's going to be a huge change for them. It's going to be a big, big change.
And expensive.
Expensive.
Real expensive.
They're already paying big bucks. I mean, they're at the enterprise level, and I think they were paying for like 20 licenses. So
I would call like Matt Clark, you know, just get an idea if it's fixable.
That's what I would do. Call Matt.
Yeah,
and spend $400 and see if he can
Charlie
fix
Russell.
He doesn't do it.
I wouldn't rely on Intuit's tech support.
No,
I wouldn't either.
yeah, but we've been working and fighting with this for over a month.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And the database is that huge, as much as we could reduce it.
Did you ever resort the chart?
Have you talked to Doug Sleater about his suggestions?
We've resorted. I mean, that was the process we went through. Every time that there was corruption, it was the rebuild, it was the portable file, then we opened it back up and we resorted the customers, the vendors, the chart of accounts, everything. But they had a feeling that the corruption at this point was so deep in the database that the cost to try and figure it out, or the time, you know, just would be prohibitive.
Oh, well, that's a shame though, because they're an anchor client.
Well, isn't
They
it
were, yes.
an Intact one that Intuit recommends to upgrade to?
I'm not sure that they trust Intuit and their recommendations at this point.
Yeah.
They want to look at some cost analysis at this point. What are the softwares going to cost them?
Right.
Yeah.
What are the processes that they need? They are going to keep their app that they're using. It does work independently of QuickBooks, and that app may be the bridge to get them from QuickBooks to where they're going.
Got it.
You know, we're disconnecting payroll as soon as possible. I'm pushing for the end of the month. They want to do it the end of the quarter. We'll see how the next couple payrolls go. In the middle of the month is insane.
Oh my God.
No.
You know, so, and as soon as that gets disconnected, I have a feeling that'll be a big portion of what the problems were in the database. So at that point, they're going to try and limp along until the end of the year and look at 1/1 as the target to move to something else.
How many employees are there?
Between 65 and 70.
I mean, if the payroll's a problem, could you run a second QuickBooks file with payroll only, which then will give you the entries and make one big journal entry into
They're
the...
doing job costing. So, yeah, one big journal entry is a huge journal entry.
Oh,
That's right. What about, T-Sheets connects with QuickBooks. That's right.
Yeah, so
I
that
can't
was my...
believe it's going to storm again. We just had a storm come through about a half an hour ago it was as black as night, absolutely nighttime out there. Here it goes again. I would love to just pick up this weather and give it to the West Coast. Not the storms, but just the water.
Is anybody going to QuickBooks Connect?
People steal identities out here on the West Coast, too.
I'm not.
QuickBooks Connect. We talked a little bit about that before we went on air.
Yeah.
Linda's going.
I'm rooming with Yvette.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sharing a room.
Nice. Nice.
Weird.
It's just, I mean, I wish it was more on the East Coast or in the middle of the country. It's hard getting out to that West Coast.
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
going to Sleater the next month, so...
Yeah, I decided I'm going to skip Sleater.
And this was the year I really wanted to go to Sleater. Now I'm rethinking. No one's going to Sleater this year.
It's hard.
They're
It's hard
going
to know.
No one's going to Sleater?
Connect.
I'm thinking every other year, maybe.
Yeah, I'll go to Sleater the following year for sure. I think Intuit may have deliberately scheduled their conference for 2-3 weeks before Sleater's, and I think that was really very
wrong.
Okay? And
I had the same feeling.
wasn't going to go.
I had the same feeling too, that they specifically designed it first, so people would go to them and not to Sleater. Now, why are they blacklisting Sleater? Because they're not.
Well, it's because Sleater doesn't kiss their you-know-what.
Well, Sleater isn't 100% into it. Yeah.
And that actually is why I wanted to go to
That's
Sleater.
why I like
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So,
Well, if I could go to Sleater, I would, but I can't.
It's
I could have both. And
I'm going to start saving up.
the first time it's out here. You know, first time they've ever done it, so I want to go, and it's in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to go to Sleater, and even then the Nan one.
Oh, the Nan one is fabulous. If you haven't
Yeah.
gone, it's really good.
Can't do it
In
all.
New Orleans next year.
Well, next year it's in New Orleans, though.
Ooh, I might.
I might make that one.
Yeah, what time of year?
Fun.
Usually June. Joe really puts on Joe Woodard really does a great job. I mean, this past year he had that Frank Abagnale as one of the speakers. You know, Brad Smith was there. His
Yeah, that was
classes
free.
start at like 7 o'clock in the morning and go till 10 o'clock at night. You know.
See, that's a killer for me. That's too long.
Sleater was there, too.
Well, you get your money's worth, I'll tell you. And then we went to the Alamo one night, which was fabulous. Went to SeaWorld
Yeah, I
another
think
night.
I saw some shots with you in it too. From
What?
From Joe Woodard's.
Oh yeah, I tell the photographers, take my picture.
I thought you said you did some shots with her.
In fact, if you look at the Sleater ad for the Sleater advertisement, I'm on that.
Yes, that's where I saw you.
Yeah.
And the crazy costume.
Well, yeah, I always do the costume for Sleater. That's what I'm kind of known for.
I love that.
It's fun. I like to have fun.
I don't want to bail on Sleater this year, but my gosh, everyone's going to QuickBooks Connect, and they also have that new online advanced that they're offering to people at the QB Connect. People that go there get first dibs on it, and then I don't think it's actually introduced to the rest of the pro advisors until November.
Does anybody know anything about the advanced QBO?
Not a thing.
I just know that Michelle Long and Stacy, they do a LinkedIn chat. They did one, I think 2 of them this week, and I think they might be doing another one soon. But that's all I know. And Michelle Long put something out on her website about it.
Huh.
So I would be interested in going to that, but again, I'm not going to go to 2. I'll have to decide which one I want to go. And I haven't registered for either yet.
Well, I tell you, the Sleater conference was expensive this year. It cost me over $1,000 just for the conference ticket.
Yeah, but then hotel and plane and rent a car.
Yeah, and then the hotel's $175 a night plus tax. The airplane ticket, I mean, it's not.
It was about $3,200 by the time we.
Yeah.
Well, it must have been 2 people.
Yeah, well, I can't. Yeah, my husband joined Sleater so that he could, he didn't want to be stuck in a hotel room all the time. And,
my husband goes with me, but he likes to go to the casino, so. So I hate it when they
That
have
could
it in Las
become very expensive, Deborah.
Yeah.
So I like it when they had it in Anaheim. He said, "You can go by yourself that year."
Thanks.
But that was fun. That was the year I got to go to Disney World. That was great, or Disneyland.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I do want to make a comment. I had to deal a couple times with QuickBooks Connect just about some things, and they have been very accommodating. They're really nice people, group of people putting this together.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they reached out to me, and just very nice people all around.
So that you are registered?
Oh, yeah, I registered in June.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to miss it. I'm really excited about it.
And who else is going?
Linda.
Linda's coming. And it's a lot. I use my points on Southwest Air to fly from an airport that's 5 minutes from me up to either San Jose or Vegas. That's not a cost, but the hotels are a cost, and they're both pretty pricey. I think Caesar's Palace is as expensive as the Marriott in San Jose. We're splitting it, of course. That still doesn't make it cheap, but it makes it more reasonable. And the other thing is the QuickBooks Connect. I'm just going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. That's 4 nights, and Yvette can do 3 nights. But over at the other one, maybe it's the same distance. It just seems to me, for some reason, Sleater's conference costs about $800 to go to, and maybe it's because he's got a lot more high-powered people there, or he's at Caesar's. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's certainly well worth it, but it costs another $400 more than it would to go to QuickBooks Connect.
Okay.
And it's the first time Intuit's ever put this out, so I don't want to miss it. That's just me.
Well, maybe next year. Because I got school around. I got to sit for the CPA next year.
Yay!
A lot of money.
Wow. So you're concentrating on that, Christina.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have another question. Who's been to Alaska?
Oh, it's on my bucket list.
Have you, Dennis? You're right there.
A long time ago, about 40 years ago.
Okay,
because Oh, I love
I'm
Alaska.
leaving
I
for
went there.
Alaska on Saturday.
Oh, fun.
I don't have any idea what to wear.
Oh,
I
take
don't
a
know what to tell you. They're having polar vortexes things.
Where are you going in Alaska?
I don't know. I mean, I'll be on a cruise ship, so I'm going to like.
I
don't know.
definitely want a raincoat or a rain hat and an umbrella. If you're going to Ketchikan and Juneau.
That would take a sweater too.
Yeah, I think I'm going there. I don't know. I'm excited to go to Alaska. Anybody in Seattle? Because I'm flying into Seattle.
Pardon me?
I'm flying into Seattle. So if
That's
anybody
right.
are in Seattle, come
I
see
live
me.
in the Seattle area, yeah.
Perfect.
Because I'll be in Seattle, and then when we get back, we're going to stay in Seattle a couple of days to visit Seattle.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Nice.
Yeah, you go to the Pike Place Market and go to the Space Needle and try to think of other tourist. The Pike Place Market's really popular for tourists. Same way with the Space Needle.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to go. And now that I have my Cloud9 server, I can still work.
That's not so fun, actually.
You won't have as much internet on that ship, though.
I know. Well, I can still do the bill.com. It just takes a lot longer.
Those roaming fees are a bear, huh?
Well, I use the ship's internet. Just takes a long time.
Oh, got it, right.
You know, and they don't have double monitors and.
Yeah, we need our toys.
So when we land in all the ports, I always take my laptop and I said, "Oh, there's a Starbucks, free Wi-Fi, yay!" You know.
They're not always that reliable either,
Starbucks started out in Seattle. The first Starbucks was in Seattle.
I know we're going to see it. I can't wait.
Yeah, back in the mid-'80s, I believe.
That's right.
With the first Costco was in Seattle, back in the mid-'80s.
Seattle is supposed to be home of the coffee drinkers. People in Seattle love their coffee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, you've heard about the Northwest Chill, right? The people are friendly on the outside, but very reserved on the inside. And people from the East Coast are more used to, I don't know. They find people on the West Coast very reserved, at least in Seattle. Very superficial.
I guess it depends where you are. Northern East Coast is way different than Southern East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Southern Belle, Sarah?
That's true. That's true.
Well, we all get along. We're from all over. Look at this panel.
That's right.
It seems to me that in California, people aren't as neighborly or friendly as they are back east in New York or wherever there. And I determined that it was because the weather out here is so good, you don't need your neighbor's help. You don't even have to know who your neighbors are because there isn't snow, there isn't ice.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
But after an earthquake out here, everybody gets friendly. That's when they get friendly.
That's a good.
Yeah, but we had the hurricanes come through here. The best part of it was you got to meet your neighbors.
Got it. The neighbors lean on each other.
Especially if you own a chainsaw.
Yeah, but we had a phone because we had a business line out of the house, so everybody came in to use our phone.
Yeah.
And take showers. We had water, so we got we were very popular.
So you met many of your neighbors that you didn't know existed.
Yeah, I have a generator, so it's like, can we use your fridge?
Yeah.
Can we charge our phones?
Right. So what
Charlie came through here 10 years ago.
Pardon me?
Hurricane Charlie came through here 10 years ago, like this week.
Ooh, work on something quick.
Yeah, that was one that one took our roof off our house.
Mm.
Fun. That was the year of 4 hurricanes in the state.
Yeah.
Wow. So back to QuickBooks. Has anybody had any interesting QuickBooks things this week to talk about?
Well, I'm doing this audit with this one client, and he made the decision of going back and changing a prior period.
Oh,
fun.
Basically, removed about $200,000 from his income for 2012, and I think it's sort of in suspense. I'm trying to tell them, we reported this on the tax return for the audit. We might want to rethink this.
And really, if it wasn't there, then you should be doing amended.
Well, see, the thing is that the audit is through 2012, but they want to see the 2013 return. And so when I got the 2013 QuickBooks, I noticed that when I ran a report for, the previous periods, that the 2012 was off like about $250,000.
Doesn't realize it's a perpetual idea.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you're wiping out it's a partnership. I'm thinking, you're wiping out your basis, for taking losses on this sucker. Plus, you're just asking the IRS to open up a couple more years for a tax return. So I'm trying to get him to change it back, or at least just take the difference.
So where did he put it if he took it out of income?
Well, what happened was an invoice, and he made it. I think he deleted it, and he's got it on a new invoice with extra charges, and now it's pending. So it's sort of nowhere right now. And I'm trying to convince him to take the difference and put that into since we've already reported it for tax purposes. I don't want to have to, especially when we're being audited, I don't want to have to try to explain what the heck we're doing or not doing, So it's like people shouldn't be able to play it, Well, we talked about that article this morning about the dirty secret about accounting, that people don't want to pay their people
have dirty. The secret is small businesses all have dirty books.
Don't want to pay taxes,
and don't want to pay anybody to clean them up. They don't see a need for it. I think the need comes a little bit later. I think the need comes when they start looking for bank loans, when they start thinking about, am I going to sell this business?
Well, yeah, it's like if I'm going to buy a business, I'm going to do due diligence, and if I see the records are trash, I'm going to discount my offering price,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
I tell people that all the time.
That pain tends to motivate people. I mean.
Yeah, but I'm starting to do things a little bit different these days. I really want to get away from the cleanup business and be more involved at the startup end of it and getting it correct going forward. So I kind of force the reports on my people. I make sure that I send them to them every month, and I want to talk about them. I want to talk about the things that I see. I want to talk about the things that are different. I want their eyes on it. And after a while, it does start to sink in, and they will come back to me and say, I really didn't realize I should have been looking at this from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I like to interject. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to do with entrepreneurship, because when you start from the top, it always trickles down to the income taxes, right? It has to be right. So in order to not have to go through an audit in a month to do the whole year or whatever, if you start at the top, by the time you get to the taxes, it's all right. It's nice and clean. Everybody's happy.
Amen.
But it is true, Sarah. I think that sometimes they do need to experience a little bit of that pain to understand or be motivated to have the clean books.
I would think it'd be in their best interest before they even start a business to take some classes, on accounting, small business, to even see if they're
I don't even know where I would even send them, because honestly, some of the best people, the best clients that I had no accounting experience.
Right.
They did what I said, and we moved on, and later on, it showed that it was a good thing. We did it correctly from the very beginning.
I think SBA probably has, classes you can take, or,
They do, but you think about it, Dennis, though, really how much accounting theory, when you went into the real world and really started working with people and their books, were you able to just jump right in from that accounting theory? I think it takes a little bit of experience.
Well, I went from the corporate world into self-employment. I didn't start in self-employment.
Okay.
But at least to know the value of accounting information and not just.
Yeah, I've been struggling with this for a long time. This is my biggest struggle, is to have them feel the value of what it is we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't see the value, they're probably not going to listen to you, or they'd be less inclined to listen to you.
And that's why my long-term clients will seek me out if I move to a different place.
Right.
You know, you just have to go with the experience and, you know, be with them from the beginning. I mean, the more good advice that you give them, the better that they'll feel about taking it.
Yeah.
And I sometimes forget when I have new clients that I have to start building that trust up.
Yeah.
Our best clients are ones that are not accounting savvy or have very much accounting background, because they feel like that's what they're paying us for, is to have that knowledge. The ones that have the accounting background either don't take our advice or think they can do it by themselves, foul it up, and then we're back to a cleanup situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want them to care.
Yeah.
I just want them to pay.
I don't have any trouble with the paying part, but it's if they don't care, it filters down to, it filters everywhere, and it just makes our job harder. And even if they don't understand it,
right.
I want them engaged. I want to have a relationship with somebody of authority, you know, and
It's kind of like if you're doing cleanup, you're kind of like a janitor, and it's like it's going to get messed up again, and you're just doing the same thing.
yeah, I'm so done with those jobs. I'm absolutely done with those jobs. My husband, yeah, sometimes he's so funny. He's a IT director, but there's certain times of the year where he'll come home from work and go, "I'm just a computer janitor." My mouse isn't working. Is it plugged in? Seriously, is that bad? It's funny.
Well, I'm at the point, yeah, where I'm just saying, you know what, I'll take care of it for you. You have a question, come and ask me. If I do it, I know it's right, and that's where I'm at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that job I had this afternoon was fun. You know, I had somebody that had no accounting background whatsoever, but you know, he's smart. It's his new business. He's interested, and you know, it was fun. So I gave him a lot of homework. So we'll see how he does on the homework.
Yeah, I've done that before and come back and found absolutely nothing done since my last visit.
Yeah, I had another one like that. Yeah, I just changed the engagement and said, "Look, this isn't a consulting engagement. This is a bookkeeping engagement. Just move it out of the way. We'll do it."
Yeah, I've had several bookkeeping engagements start out that way too.
And they're like, "We can't do this." I'm like, "I'm glad you realize that." Just, you know. But sometimes they want to try, you know, they want to get in there, and then they see how really complex it is, and it's a good thing.
Then they're happy to hand it over to you. I want the ones that are happy to hand it over to you.
I think it's helpful to have an appreciation of what's involved, you know, and sometimes if you do it yourself for a couple of months and realize, hey, this is more complicated than I thought, or that what Intuit told me it was going to be.
Or time consuming, because a lot of them go, "Well, I only have 15 checks."
Yeah.
And, you know, well, how long does it take to do 15 checks? Well, depends on how complex everything around it is.
My Peachtree conversion turned into, it's not really a conversion anymore. It's more okay, we're going to start using QuickBooks Enterprise from scratch.
Yeah.
Fiscal year and everything that goes into getting that on the server, getting the people trained on it. So they're going to be, you know, using Peachtree up until the end of the year, and then migrating over the balances into the new QuickBooks. And yeah, that's not what the contract was for at all.
Yeah, and then there's that. Many times I start out talking to them, have a conversation with them, and they tell me this, and that, and I expect to go in and see this, and that, and find out something entirely different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they tell you their books are in good order, and you take a look and you go, what?
Yeah, a lot of times when I get a new client and they tell me things like that, I always ask them to send me a copy of their file.
Right. Me too.
And before I even engage with them, I want to know what I'm getting into, because so many times they tell me, oh, you know, it's not a whole lot, and then it's a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
I had one this week I got, and they use online payroll. So we imported it. I'm looking at the bank, and I say, none of these payroll checks cleared. How come? Did you pay them in cash? Did you write it out of a personal checkbook? Oh, no, I wrote the paycheck, and I included, like, extra if I reimbursed her for something. I'm like, huh?
What?
Vendors?
No, it was a payroll. So let's say my pay was $100.
Yeah.
And, you know, the paycheck was $100, but I went to the store and bought envelopes for the office.
Right.
So the check came in, imported at $100, and I see it, and then they never wrote check numbers in.
Oh.
And they, you know, and I'm like, I don't know what these checks are for. And
So then it would clear the bank for $150 or something?
Yeah. So I said, I don't know what. So I had $100,000 in unknown checks.
Wow.
And I said, you have to tell me what these are. And then there was, and then they would make deposit. She never would go and clear the undeposited funds. So at the end of the year, she just cleared them all.
Ah! Is she doubling your income with the?
Well, she calculated the income correctly. You know, where she would do the invoicing, no problem. She received the payment, but she never reconciled the bank for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know it's right? I mean, what about the, you know? Well, I didn't think that was important.
That's what I
My
used
mom
to
said the same thing until she started bouncing checks. Because after about 20 years of having this bank account, she never took into account that every month there was this little fee. And one day it caught up. It was
I know. I mean,
money.
12, 13, 15 bucks a month, and they don't even know it's there.
Yeah, after 20 years, it finally ate up what she thought she had.
Yeah. And then I had another doozy this week. I went to this homeowners association, could not get their checkbook to balance. It was a big mess. I mean, the bank really screwed things up. Well, then I find out, I said, let's just undo it and start over where this problem began. So then I'm going through and I said, why is this deposit in January when it actually went into the bank in December? And the property manager goes, well, the CPA said to put it in January instead of December. What? Why?
Yeah.
Well, because the payments were really for payments for January, and they paid us in December. I said, well, that's called a prepaid. You know,
Yeah, that works if you don't physically walk over to the bank.
I said, you can't have, I said, your bank's not going to bounce. You're not going to. Apparently, the CPA does this.
Keep it in your drawer and don't put it in the bank.
Right. I said, you can't. I mean, now your bank doesn't match. I mean,
Right.
It's amazing what some of these people that think they know, even accountants tell people, what? I said, forget that.
Yeah.
That's because
So
they JE it and then they reverse it out after the end, and only they know it. And when somebody else catches them, it's like, oh, well, that's okay.
And then I had another client this week. They're trying to sell the business, and they want to keep it quiet from the employees. So he goes and emails the secretary and says, I want you to write a check. Now you have to understand, we use bill.com. So if they're not approver status, they don't see any of the bills. So I said, tell me it, I can go pay it, no big deal. No one sees it except the owners. Well, he tells the secretary, so and her job is to make sure all the invoices are in. So she doesn't get an invoice. She calls the attorney and says, I'm calling the attorney. They're faxing over the bill. And the guy goes, no, don't do that. So then they have this other, I said, well, she's doing her job. I mean, if you had you talked to me, I would have handled it. And then they have this other company, this finance company that wants to do, and he goes, I want this kept secret. And I said, he goes, I don't want you to record this $30,000 in the books at all. I said, sorry, can do. I mean, there's $30,000 leaving the bank. I need to record it, and your other partners need to know you've spent it. Well, hide it. I mean,
And the person that's paying the bills needs to know that there's 30,000 less.
Exactly. Yeah. I said, so he said, well, don't call it I don't know the name of I forgot the name. It's like ABC company. Call it something else, because if the staff ever Googles it, they'll find out we're trying to sell. I said, well, first off, the staff doesn't have access to the file. And secondly, the staff's worried about their own job instead of trying to figure out where you write a check. And I said, okay, I'll change it. So I made it a pizza company. No, I tell you, if they look at the books and they see that we spent $30,000 on pizza,
Oh, that's funny.
he was okay with that. Oh, okay, that's good. Call it pizza.
Well, that won't make the staff worry about whether they're going to have a job or not.
Exactly.
I just did.
The boss has lost his mind.
They all lose their mind. I tell you, it's so funny. Okay, whatever.
I've done that with we used to do back when the money was flowing better, dividends.
I know what you
but
mean.
He didn't want different people who had access to see who was getting what dividends or something. I don't know what the problem was, but anyway, so I have vendor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Once a year, I pull it up and it'll print on check as, but if you just happen to get into the checkbook, you just see vendor 1, 2, 3, but
Right.
I'm like, the games we play. I had one this week, it was great. Some owners had bought some gifts for some managers, like 10-year anniversary, gifts like that. And this one lady had used her personal credit card. She wanted to be reimbursed, but they didn't want the the staff to see how much their gifts cost. So they were running it outside the normal cycle of getting this reimbursement. And a different lady would sign the check and everything. And I'm laughing hysterically because these people pour over their general ledger. They pour over their budget. It's not in the budget. No matter what you do, they're going to see it.
It's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
And there's different entities that I consolidate once a year. I'm like, why are you even putting it in their budget? You bought them a gift, yet you're going to run it through their checkbook and their budget. It should be on your checkbook and your budget. If it's such a...
I don't know, Brian.
Bought a gift out of their budget for them?
Huh?
They bought a gift out of someone else's budget for that person?
Yeah! It's like...
That's awesome.
The officers decided to buy these engraved gifts.
So you get credit for the gift and not have to pay for it.
It went, wait a minute, we need to get reimbursed out of their, that division's checkbook. And I'm like, but they go through their expenses with a fine-tooth comb. The whole thing's just funny. So we played a game.
I was going to ask you guys, do you guys use pre-engagement or engagement letters with your clients?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I use it, and also billing authorization form as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need something like that.
So do you still have problems with the customer not really following through with?
Absolutely.
Well, my new engagement letters
Okay.
are very detailed.
How many pages are they?
12.
Wow.
No.
Do they read it?
The handbook is about 12, and then the contract itself is about, it depends, 4 to 6.
Wow.
I've got mine down to about 2 pages now.
Well, that's what I had before, and it wasn't enough. Because if I'm going to flat fees, I need to be really descriptive of what's in the scope and what's out of the scope, what I expect, what they expect.
I don't do flat fee. I bill by the hour.
Yeah, I'm doing the flat fee, and it seems like that they like the flat fee, but only for the bookkeeping and part of it, because I know exactly what I'm doing. When I'm doing the consulting, I never know what I'm walking into, even if they are a long-time client. Until you get there and you see what they're talking about, you have no idea what they're talking about.
That's true.
Well, it's like the one today. I would have never dreamed it was going to take me 3 hours.
Right. Sometimes you just can't. So hourly has to be the cleanup.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a cleanup and getting started, I do it by the hour. So
Yep.
before you go to flat fee, because usually the books are a mess before you get them. I mean, I do it hourly.
I specify I want a deposit, which is a month's worth of bookkeeping up front. I also have a setup fee and a cleanup fee embedded into the first, like my first month that I'm doing the bookkeeping. And then once it's all cleaned up and in good order, then I'll go on to the monthly fee.
That's the other thing I'm doing new is I want to be paid at the beginning of the month instead of at the end of the month.
That's what I said, the first 5 days.
Well, that's what my deposit is for. If they miss a month's worth of payment, I will use the deposit, but before I'll do the following months, I have to have that deposit refreshed and be up to date with the billing. And because I'm doing their bookkeeping, they should have a good idea of what's happening with their cash flow. I mean, that's the other thing. You're doing the books, you know if they're doing good or not.
Right.
You know if they're having problems.
You're one of the first people to know.
Absolutely. So I have, on occasion, worked with people that I'll say, I can see this problem happening. You know, you're going to be short next month. You know, and it just goes from there. You know, what are you going to do to fix it? You know, going forward, what are we going to do? So I will work with people, but that deposit keeps me from getting in the hole.
Yeah. Problem with me, you know, historically, 28 years, I've, you know, added up all my time, got them a bill at the end of the month, and most of my clients pay very quickly, but, you know, worst case, 10 days, 2 weeks later. So, meanwhile, I've paid all my staff, I paid myself a month and a half before I get paid. So, the problem with switching gears is that very first month when they're going to pay me for last month and then prepay me for this month in the same month. So cash-wise, I'm going to nail them, which I hated to do. But fortunately, most of my clients don't have, their cash flows can absorb that. So it's not that big of a deal. But
well, the nice thing with the flat fee billing is I can do automatic invoicing.
Yes, ACH.
And I'm doing it with Bill.com. Well, actually, I have some Bill.com. I'm moving more towards Bill.com. And I still have some the Intuit Payment Network. I've had to make them different dates and not do it all at the same time.
You still track your hours, though, to make sure you're not losing on the flat fee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
But it is so much faster to close out my own month end.
Right.
Or start of month, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm not so dependent on the timekeeping as before.
I've actually been using T-Sheets to do that, to monitor each client. I set up an internal code in my QuickBooks, and when I'm working on a client, or when I'm working for my business itself, I track the time, and T-Sheets shoots it right over to QuickBooks.
Yeah.
QuickBooks for me, and I can
need to set it up for my employees, and it's just one of those more thing on my to-dos. But I need that'll help me learn the program.
Oh, T-Sheets. T-Sheets is oh my God, it's so easy.
Sarah, do you use T-Sheets?
It's on my to-dos to set up. Jesse's like, have you set it up yet? And I'm like, no.
It will take you like 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, it's super simple.
Can you use T-Sheets to do job costing on QBO?
Huh?
Yeah.
Can you use T-Sheets to do job costing on QBO?
I don't have any clients that are using QBO payroll, so I can't answer that.
You mean as far as just assigning it to a client?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you were doing, say, a construction job costing, could you use T-Sheets for their payroll to send to?
I don't know how different it is.
Yeah, QBO doesn't have job costing per se.
Right.
You can't put a client name on, say, the labor
Mhm.
at all in QBO.
They
I don't-
have what do they call it? They're more like classes. They have-
Oh, yeah, they have two different
The
classes.
class and location.
class and
And
routine.
no customer, no field for
You can
customer.
do a lot of things with.
So if I'm in QBO, is there no customer field on the expenses and the payroll? Is that what you're saying?
Right. I don't think there is.
Well, then how is anybody using it for?
That would be the $1 million question, Sarah. It's not
Because nonprofits, you know, I've so many nonprofits saying they're going to QBO, but that's the one field that is so important.
to be able. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I do not know. I do not have any nonprofits on QBO.
All it is just assigning a customer name to transaction.
Cool, but everybody's going to QBO. That's the way of the future.
Yep.
Yeah, but QBO doesn't. QBO isn't. That's like buying a friggin' pair of jumpers and not. You don't have 2 feet. Like really? Like why?
If you think of it as a completely different product, you don't get mad at it.
Yeah, it's like you wear skirts, but you're buying a pants. Come on.
Yeah, well, you know,
I said
QBO,
from day one they should have named it something else.
That's right. That's the problem.
We all know that if we go from QuickBooks to Sage, that they're completely different programs.
Right.
Right.
But QuickBooks to QuickBooks Online, you assume that it's QuickBooks.
Right.
It's not quick. It's not the same thing.
QuickBooks.
Right.
Well, in their marketing, do they,
Somebody's working. I can hear the baboon.
I know. I heard that QuickBooks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey,
I
they
love
don't.
that sound.
I'm trying to cut my checks.
Working.
on the QBO marketing, do they make it seem like it's really easy to convert desktop to QBO in their marketing materials?
Yeah, it's like everybody should they're cramming it down everybody's throat.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
They are, and it's the reason why they're doing this is it's a completely different foundation.
Right.
That they can't make the online like the desktop.
Why did I do that?
Well, I was having a conversation with my CPA group, and we were talking about QBO, and my belief is it's going to be a cram down when they finally get job costing and inventory to work like the desktop. And
Well, one of these days.
Well, they're going to have to.
Inventory to work like the desktop because it doesn't.
but I mean, the action was why would Intuit keep the desktop? You know, for all the the limitations and having to run 2 separate types of businesses.
I can see, yeah, I'm sorry, I can see that there are still going to be many, many desktops, and particularly construction companies that run not just one company, but maybe 3 or 4.
Right.
yeah,
you have your manufacturers, you can't. Not everybody. It won't work for everybody.
Even with apps.
and there's too many
Exactly.
people that use the desktop version. But I think eventually they're probably, sooner or later, they're going to really concentrate just on online, and the desktop will probably
Well,
have.
then I guess they're gonna be leaving. They're gonna be losing a hell of a lot of clients.
Yeah, they will, but I think that QuickBooks Desktop will be online too, but always remote hosted. That's the direction I'm going.
No, I think that's a real viable solution, Linda.
Yeah.
Is to boost
I
it.
think that's what, because they're going to make everybody online. I know that, but I'm sticking with desktop. I refer other people. I'll refer them up to Yvette.
That's right. You can have them. Well, but after the world today, with the internet being so slow, oh my goodness, that's where it took 3 hours.
That's the big problem.
Yeah, that was an hour-and-a-half job, 2-hour job, and it was excruciating. So until the infrastructure is better throughout the whole country, and Comcast quits, fighting with, Skype or whoever they're fighting with. I don't know. 'Cause I mean, the internet is much better in different places of the world than it is here because they throttle it.
Right. I feel like my internet's throttled at the moment too.
If you look at QuickBooks website, you wouldn't even know they sell a desktop unless you.
No, you can't find it. You cannot find it.
If you look way down at the bottom, you can click on the different products, or if you click on the Pro Advisor, then you'll see the desktop. But
it's teeny weensy, little bitty font. Yeah.
I do love the desktop version, though. Like all of you, the desktop to me is so much better. I do know though that they're trying to work on that QBO, and even their new Harmony's changed a lot compared to what the classic. I have.
What the hell is Harmony?
I have
What's the name of the new look?
The new one. It's called Harmony. I have clients that have been using the classic, for a very long time, and then when they did the switch over to Harmony, one of my clients called me out. He was pretty upset, and he wanted to know if he could get it back to the classic. And I'm like, no, that's it. They've taken off the classic.
Well, I'll tell you, I do not like the customer search in the new Harmony. I hate it, and I've seen clients struggling with it.
You can't just say like S and land in the S's or.
Oh, I want that so bad. I so badly want the alphabet where I can click on S's and scroll. Because,
You can't do that? What do you do?
You just keep typing.
Oh, gosh. Well, and I like my hotkeys. I'm a real keyboard person. I'm so much
right. But the problem is if you have clients that are like, we'll say, New York Deli, New York Cafe, did you put NY Deli or did you spell it out? This time it's this way, that time it was that way, and you can't, unless you can scroll, you won't see that.
You can't see the list? Oh,
yeah, it's not, and I've seen my clients struggle with it too.
Yeah, I don't know why they can't do that.
They can. I don't know why they're not.
Well, it'll come because look, I started with Intuit when they were Quicken for DOS. Wow. And I remember the first QuickBooks that came out, DOS. And when I think about the way it was in the beginning to, really where it landed just a couple years ago. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, I think it's really deteriorated in the last couple years, but it'll come. It'll come. Look, it's just desktop has so many more years of development under its belt than.
That's true.
But it's been built on and built on and built on, and it was never really rebuilt from the ground up in desktop.
And when they went to the SQL database, they just dumped it into the SQL database.
Yeah, there's so much garbage code in there. I mean, look at how they'll add or change one little thing and it breaks, so many other things.
Well, spaghetti coding in there, I'll bet you.
Yeah, can you imagine after all these years? Yeah.
Which is why my client now has an irreparable corruption problem.
Exactly. We never had corruption like this a couple years ago.
Well, we are past our time once again. Great hangout. Great topics we talked about, but I think we're going to have to end it here. And we will see you next week.
Already?
Oh my God.
Bye.
I just sent you an email.
Don't stop now. Thank you. I will go look for it.
Is that your
I'm just getting wound up, and I just finished another cup of coffee. We got to keep going.
Yeah, I'm about to do the coffee thing too. I have to finish the work I should have finished this week. So, all right.
Y'all have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.